Musician and globetrotter Dr. Benny Prasad is visiting Toronto from India. He has traveled every country in the world in record time. Dr. Prasad has an incredible story that will inspire us all. Please join me in welcoming him to the show. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
All right, so who's this lovely lady sitting beside you?
This is my wife. Her name is Benny.
Okay.
She is from the northeast part of India, from the state of Nagaland.
Okay.
And we both travel together.
All right, so you are here in Toronto and you come from India.
Yes.
So tell us about your incredible journey. You have the most inspiring story I've ever heard.
Yes.
So why don't you share that with our viewers, your story?
Well, I grew up in a family with great achievements. My father being an aerospace scientist, I was expected to become like him, being the firstborn.
Okay.
That was a very typical Indian expectation. And it was hard when I grew up to keep up to those expectations and responsibilities. And I struggled from childhood, actually. I was born with asthma, and from the age of 2 till the age of 16, I was on wrong medication. And as a result of that, 60% of my lungs got damaged, my immune system broke down, and I developed rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
So at 16, the doctors gave me 6 months to live. And on the other side, educationally, my family looked at me and they said, what is this? You're not able to bring those high marks that we are expecting, and then compared with my siblings, compared with my father's achievements, and it was all about comparison. And I was fed up with life. I just thought, why should I even live in this world when I'm not even able to live up to my standards and expectations? And at 16, the doctors gave me 6 months to live. So seeing that, I thought it's better for me to die rather than continue to live for another 6 months and live in pain and live in rejection. So as I contemplated to commit suicide is when I had an encounter with Jesus Christ when I went for a youth camp. And on the second day I heard the voice of Jesus saying, even though you are called useless, I still want you, and I can transform your life and make you a new person.
All right, now our viewers are a little bit perplexed because Jesus is God. You know, how does God speak to people? How is that even possible?
True. See, I grew up in a church. Okay, a Christian setting, but it was just the most boring lifestyle I lived. Because I went to church because I was forced to go to church.
Yes.
And my father said that if you don't go to church, then you don't get your lunch. So that was the only incentive of going to church. So it was just traditional. It was just something that everyone did, so we did it. But I'll tell you, it made no sense whether I went or I didn't go. So at 16, when I heard the voice of Jesus, at that point it was an audible voice. And it did take an audible voice because I was fed up with religion. I was fed up with this ritualistic lifestyle.
So you actually heard an audible voice?
Yes.
How did you know it was Jesus?
Well, since I grew up as a Christian, I knew that Jesus was God because that's what my parents told me. But it was nothing beyond a personal conviction or anything. You just followed what someone told you. But at 16, I knew it was the voice of Jesus, is because I heard his voice. And for me, it was Jesus because the words he used were very much connected with what the Bible talked. And he said, even though you are called useless, I still want you. And he said, if you surrender your life into my hands, I will make you a new creation. And that was very much what the Bible said, is if anyone is in Christ, he's a new creation. The old has gone and the new has come. But I told him that I have 6 months to live. What do you want to do with a life that's going to be dead and gone in 6 months?
Okay.
He said, I can extend your life. And that was something very special for me. One was to know that I was intentionally created. Because till that point, I was compared, and my brother and 3 sisters were so good, and I was the odd guy. And here God saying that I have a plan for you was beautiful. So I gave my broken life, dying life, into the hands of Jesus, and he transformed me and made me a new person. So that was the start of my journey, knowing that I was created with a purpose. Even though my academic reports said that you are useless and you are worthless. So during that process of journey is when I started to know that God has a plan for my life.
Okay, share that plan with us.
The first thing was at the age of 19, I picked up a broken guitar and picked up broken strings when musicians broke, tied them together and put them on the guitar. And with one sheet of chords, I started to practice how to play the guitar. I did go for music lessons when I was 15, but on the first day, the guitar teacher said, please don't come back again. You have no qualities of music. So I knew that according to the world, I cannot be a musician. But here Jesus said, I will bless you with talents. And so I started practicing, and very soon, in 2004, I designed the world's first guitar with drums inside, which I played on the cultural stage at the Olympic Games in Greece.
Okay.
Now in 2002, I asked God, what is your plan for my life? I know that coming from India, we are a very spiritual country. Whether we understand what is spirituality is secondary. A lot of things that we do in our country is all based on either a ritual or somebody told you to do that. It's very little to do with conviction.
Yes.
But when I knew at 16 that Jesus spoke to me and he had a plan for my life, I wanted to go back to him and ask him, what is your plan for my life? In 2002 is when he gave me this vision or a dream or a plan or a goal. You can name it anything, but he said, I want you to travel to every country by 2010.
Yes.
And that was something beyond my ability, my understanding, my dreams, because my dream was one country. And here he says every country. First question was, where do I get the money to travel? And he said, I will be your provider. Now, it's all nice. God provides. Yes, everyone says God provides, but he provides air to breathe. He provides water. He provides all this is fine. But traveling and money, it was something that is practically, you just need something beyond God, is what the understanding was. So I said, God, if you are going to be my provider, then I'm just going to be your traveler. That was the deal. And I'll tell you, it was an amazing relationship where God was my provider and I was his traveler. So I had 4 financial principles. 1, I will never ask for money. 2, I will never borrow money. 3, I will never take a loan from the bank. And 4thly, I will never trust the credit card. So with these 4 financial principles, I started to travel, and I told that God, one day when I accomplish what you told me to do, the world will surely ask me about money. And I can truly be a witness that God can provide because of what you have done. And truly, by 2010, 22nd of November, I arrived in my last country at the time, Pakistan, and I broke the world record and became the fastest man in the world to travel to every country, both sovereign and dependent, in the shortest time. That was 245 nations, including Antarctica, in 6 years, 6 months, and 22 days.
That truly is an incredible story, and only possible with divine intervention.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Humanly speaking, it is not possible.
No, even now, in fact, financial institutions asked me to come and speak about how I was able to achieve this. And for sure, one of the top questions, be it presidents, be it an ambassador or the immigration or a person on the street, asked me is, how did you achieve this? And I have no other answer other than God being my provider.
That's right. You are an incredible musician, and as you said, this talent has come from God.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about your talents as a musician.
Yeah. Generally, people start playing at a very young age. They're sent to school to learn. But in my case, I started off very late and on my own. So it had to be God to give me the passion and the motivation. Because to play the guitar, to start with, is a discouraging instrument. Unlike the piano, at least when you play something, there is a sound that comes out. But with a guitar, you know,
it's a difficult instrument.
Yes, unless you develop calluses and then you start to play,
That's true.
there's no sound with your thing. So God gave me that strength to be motivated, self-taught, and passionate with that. And so with one sheet, I started to practice every day, 7 hours every day. And I loved it. even though it was painful.